that consistency and compounding over time can allow you to have these things. But you need to ask yourself if you have the willpower, the drive, being okay with people maybe misunderstanding you, and overcoming certain fears that can come with birth. We're conditioned a certain way and programmed by society and those around us how it is to give birth, and there's only really one way. The medical system and how TV shows and people around us condition us into our beliefs, but they don't have to be like that unless you allow it to be. We believe our beliefs shape our reality, so whatever you believe to be true is going to be true. So if you think you can't, then you cannot. If you can, then you can. The first step to apply is a good workout routine and figuring out your intuition and your body and knowing what you need and knowing when it's time to stop. I think that's one of the most important things, because we are not all the same. We require different things, but I do believe most women can do it. I think an important thing is a good workout routine that is for pregnancy. I know some women can do lifting. I did a little bit of lifting, but you should talk to your provider, midwife, whoever you go to for advice on things like that. The most that I did was 19 pounds. I never went over anything like that, but that was for me. And then the further I got in my pregnancy, I did 10 pounds, and then in my third trimester, I stopped. And I did more yoga than anything in my third trimester. Workout routine consisted of every day, most days, I would go on a 2-mile walk. I would follow up with a 10-minute, 30-minute workout routine. And then during my second to third trimester, I would go and do yoga for another 10 to 30 minutes. With that, I consist of a diet of everything greenery. It was a plant-based diet. I know some people may have different thoughts on that and everything like that, and I understand that, and where a lot of people can have misconceptions and different thoughts on it, but I did have more than enough protein. But that was just my way of doing it. Now I am eating meat again. Became pescatarian for 6 months during my postpartum, because when I started breastfeeding, that's when like things really changed for me and my body changed what I really needed. So I changed that. And it was a little hard because my identity for 8 years was plant-based. And I knew the reasons why I did it, so I felt a little weird going back, but no matter what diet, you need to do what your body requires, your body. So as long as you do the research and you eat things that are pure as much to nature as possible, that's what I would recommend. You need to eat as purely as you can. No ultra processed food, no processed food. I ate the rainbow. Get in fruits like making a watermelon water, like just blending it up, or eating watermelon, having fruits that had a lot of consistency of water. Things mentally for myself, and as well as like education. I have a whole book on just everything dedicated to natural birth, natural medicine. Knowledge is such a powerful tool, and we as beings are so powerful, and most of us just don't even use our full potential at all. And it's quite sad. And hearing stories and going through certain experiences myself, it's definitely made me change the way I seen the medical system and seeing how things are ran and how the system's actually working. It's quite scary, and I think that's why a lot of people don't go after it more. And a lot of people have lost their licenses and things like that for speaking up. But I think it needs to be spoke about more often, and it has been, but I feel like not nearly as much. But I hope this brings awareness, and if I'm able to have a 2-hour birth and push for 11 minutes and not tear down there, and able to go to the bathroom right after and walk around, I truly believe you can too. I really do believe that, and I want more women to have an empowering birth, as everyone should. It's such a beautiful thing to be a mom and to experience, like, giving life. Like, it's mind-blowing. We can give birth, you know? I don't know, I just think so deeply about those things. And now, I'm not saying home birth is for everyone. I personally believe it's one of the best choices you can make, but if you want to do hospital birth, by all means, you know, you should do that. You, as a woman or a parent or anyone, you should feel and do what you feel connected to do. If you feel your intuition telling you, hey, like, I need to go this route, that is what you should absolutely do, because that is right for you. Everyone is on their own path, and we should be able to choose what we want to do with our bodies. We need to pick that for ourselves and make sure that that's actually the right thing to do for ourselves, and not be persuaded by media, by people around us, by, you know, just because my mom did this, and then her mom did this, and then her mom did this. We need to break the cycle, the generation patterns, if you do have them. And I think it just all starts with you and what you want. But I found home birth to be the most beautiful thing. I've had less fear about birth and seen it in a new light, and see how beautiful creation is. And I've changed a lot of people's perception about birth and home birth, and health in general. And I didn't realize how much I made an impact until a few people have told me. And it's made me very thankful, and sharing so much gratitude with people, and them sharing with me. And it's just a beautiful experience being able to help someone in that way. I feel like no matter what you choose, hospital, birthing center, home birth, even doing it yourself, it's gonna be hard. Like, there's no magic pill to make things completely easy, but you can make it easier for yourself by taking certain steps and knowing the system, and knowing how your body works, being in tune with it. It does great wonders, because also when you're in tuned, when you're in the know-how, no one can take advantage of you. Because there's been many times where I'm like, no, because this causes this. And then that's when, like, they can't tell you anything, because you know. So if you know, it can save you. At the end of the day, you have to do that work and take that responsibility to do that. For me, my drive was me being ticked off by how things were being run. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. We are doing this a different way. My hard work really did pay off. Inner work and physical work. Wouldn't have it any other way. Like, it was purely worth it. And I'm so thankful and happy and just, like, proud of myself that I went that extra mile. I'm hoping that I can inspire others to be that change, and to find honor in the grind, honor in the hard work, the satisfaction of it, the pride, the joy. When I started giving contractions, I had called my midwives. They were like, no, it's okay, this and that. And I'm like, you know what? It should be fine. But my intuition was still telling me, like, I don't know. This is happening a lot sooner than what you think. Turns out, when I had took the test to figure out if I was actually in labor or not, I was. So I called them back again, and I said, like, I'm in labor, and I'm like an hour away. I specifically wanted to go to a place that had certain values and different things like that, and so that's what I chose. And I let them know, like, hey, this is an hour away, and just want to make sure you're aware of it. I know you probably are, but just making sure. And they're like, yeah. And I can see their perspective. I'm a first-time mom. Usually, first-time moms take a longer time, but I just had a feeling. And the midwives came. It wasn't too long after. I was starting to, like, they were kind of looking some type of way, and I was starting to, like, be in that process. And there's some complications because I was supposed to do a water birth, and instead of setting up the pool, we have like a really huge tub. Like, we should just, do this. It also saved me quite a bit of money. But there was problems with that because there's like something with the tube and something about flushing it out or something like that. And that didn't go as planned. And Jellybean came so quick that it wasn't able to be done. I wasn't able to do my water birth. I was a little disappointed, but yet relieved, because I could not, like, step over anything. I could not crouch down to save my life, which could have probably worked out in my favor because gravity was very much on my side, because I'm standing up, so the baby is going downward. That's gravity is pushing. Most part, I was standing up, and then it got to the point where they had to put me on the bed. I was in doggy style, and that's how I gave birth. It's funny because they were not expecting that. I was told later on that the midwives were freaking out because they're like, holy crap. And I realized at some point, because I always felt like they didn't believe me when I told them I was practicing certain things and doing certain things, because unfortunately they reacted. I didn't get upset by them, because the thing is, they're going from the level of the perspective of the masses. What do most people do? Most people take longer, most people do this and that. And unfortunately, sometimes when you go outside of the grid, things like that can happen. So it's another good perspective to be aware of. If you are someone like me, and you do your research and then you practice what you research, and you actually keep up with your exercises, your health, and everything in between, sometimes people unfortunately don't believe you, and then that can cause that things like that can happen. Yeah, that's the power of knowledge. That's the power of putting in the work, putting in the consistency, the compounding, knowing how your body works. It's also good to have support, and if you have midwives, talk to them about it, get a little bit of insight. It's good to know your why, and that's really gonna drive your whole experience. Because if you don't have a voice, if you don't, have a vision, sometimes things can be dictated for you. And to anyone who does not know, the end of your pregnancy, well, after your birth, you can call back the hospital and ask for a statement of everything you've been charged. You can take away all the unnecessary charges, like ibuprofen being $200, which is a true story. Not me, but someone I know. And so yeah, you can thank me later. But It's I laugh because it's ridiculous how much they jack up the prices. Like there's people who pay 14 grand, almost 15 grand just to have a kid in the hospital. And I only paid a little over 5 grand. Big difference. It's not as scary. Once you face it, you just change. A lot of things just change. Write down everything. What are your values and everything like that. And another reason why I chose a home birth is because I wanted more freedom. I wanted freedom of who was going to be around me. I didn't want to pick and choose between having people in the room with me, and I wanted to choose my own positions. If I wanted to have a little snack or something to drink, I could, because there's many times you're not allowed to have anything until after birth. My spouse's friend had her baby. She gave birth for a while. I don't remember how long, but it was a lot longer than me. And she was tired, exhausted, and not able to eat or drink anything. And yeah, so that wasn't okay in my book. And I wanted to be able to roam around if I wanted to, wear my own clothing, and, not have my baby taken away right after giving birth. I wanted to have that skin to skin contact because psychologically it's so good for them. And health benefits, the amount of health benefits with the skin to skin contact you have, and you also create such a bond. You're automatically taking that away when you give birth at a hospital. So that's another reason. And again, like you get overcharged because the services, the electronics, the just everything in between. That's why they charge so much. But there's so many rules, so many regulations, and you have so much freedom when you have a midwife, because they are truly there for you. They respected my choices. If I didn't want to, I was allowed to say no. Like, I'm not doing that. I loved that era of my life because I got good at saying no. And you should. You should, because if not, people will take advantage of that. People will. If you really don't feel comfortable with something, you need to say no. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of us as women, we don't want conflict. And we tend to just kind of just suck it up and just be okay. Sometimes when that happens, a lot of unfortunate events happen. If you feel your intuition and already your mother instincts kicking in, listen to them. They're so important. The only way people can start seeing things and seeing how the system really is if something happens to you, something happens to someone else, or someone brings awareness. And I think it's up to us to take, again, responsibility for our health, and unfortunately sometimes take it into our own hands. Obviously certain things we can't do ourselves, but for the majority, our health is our responsibility, and our responsibility is taking care of our kids and providing them with the best information and showing them what it is to be healthy and how to stay healthy. Not rely so much on a broken system that only profits from sick people and keeping you sick. Find different ways to help you give birth. There's a lot of misconceptions about midwives and holistic care, herbalism. I've realized majority of people, they haven't done the research or don't have any prior knowledge of it. And I went through that experience during my pregnancy with a couple of people, and I had asked them, explain to me, what a midwife is, or how do you go about a holistic approach, and they couldn't tell me, and they either get offended or this and that. But being a midwife, they're purposely trained, solely trained on giving birth. As a doctor, yes, they have training in that, but it's not an everyday thing. That is not their primary goal. The level of things midwives have to go through, it's absurd. Because after I gave birth, I had thought about becoming a midwife. And becoming a midwife is like having a child. You have to give everything to that child. And me just giving birth, I can't right now at least dedicate all my time to that, because you have to dedicate your life. You have to breathe, sweat, and bleed midwifery. And I give so much respect to them. I really do. No days off. You do it because you care. I'm not saying other doctors aren't, doctors aren't like that, but majority, unfortunately, are followed by a certain system that doesn't benefit you, but benefits the hospital or themselves. Unfortunately, a lot of things can go wrong during a hospital only because you are on their schedule. Sometimes, if things don't go on their schedule, and they have to rush, things can happen, and like C-sections, anything that's being rushed with nature can go wrong. There's way more C-sections happening in hospitals versus home births. To like comment, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to share my research and everything like that. Most of the studies that I found, home births have less C-sections, less complications, less medication. There are also studies that say that hospitals are just as safe as home births, or vice versa, or home births are the only way, or hospitals are the only way. And that's where I feel like if you are in between or you don't know, I would suggest go with your intuition. And this might sound weird, but go into a room, shut off the light, close your eyes, set the intention out in general. And it may not be a day, it may not be weeks, it may not be months, but the answer will come to you if you set that intention. And I would strongly suggest to go with your intuition. The answers are there if you eliminate the noise. There's so much noise around us that we can't figure out what's true or not. And there's sometimes we think things are true when we're actually blinded and we have rose-colored glasses on. There are different systems and there's different games, and you're able to play different games by a different system. And I've realized the standard way is no longer the way. Meaning the standard way of like what most people do, following the crowd, everything like that. I've noticed when you start doing things differently and you finally start seeing things for how they are, you're gonna move in a different way. And not everyone likes that. Some people are scared of different, and it's because they don't understand it. And people are scared of what they don't understand. I talk a lot, as you can see, but yeah, I love you all. I really do hope this helps you, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.